However,
Yep.
no ambiguity.
I'm just following what I was told. It has to go to Housers. And one of the arguments that they argued is that AMF was too damn high. And Housers is underbid everybody. Housers is, I'm saying it to both of you, it's $1,000.
That's why I said when I signed the chip today, it's $1,000.
Somebody sent it in for $1,000 worth of work.
I think somebody wrote it up while I was there for the.
No, I was really lucky.
As I'm thinking about the whole thing, I mean, it kind of sounds silly. I may actually cut my own throat when I say this. It sounds silly that it's already there, that we can't do the
If
work
anything
there,
happens, that's when
okay? But it's $1,000 worth of work,
it's probably going to be nothing.
okay?
I hope not.
It's not on a warranty, that's for sure.
I know, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they knew
I don't know
that.
how you there.
I need to turn this meeting over to you.
I don't think I can stand.
Oh, yes, yeah, we did. He's going to give him a plaque. Okay.
How you doing, George?
How are you?
All right.
Good.
Thanksgiving was good for everybody?
Huh?
Thanksgiving was good for everybody?
Oh, yeah.
We had like 35 people, so I never.
I told you I was going to get security.
That's overkill.
Just immediate that.
I don't trust Bob sometimes.
Through the principal. That's where he lived. We used to meet over there.
It was actually really a nice Thanksgiving.
All behaving himself.
Yeah, I just sent it to her twice. It's not going through. Apparently she didn't get, I looked on the computer. So I said, turn the computer, told her, turn the computer off, turn it back on again, see what happens. But it has to be changed.
Yeah, I can change it. So are you able to get through tomorrow?
Yeah. You didn't check it out personally yourself, did you?
No, I mean, I know what the permit says. It's only giving 7 seconds.
Oh, I wanted to
So,
give them 7 seconds.
Well, it's required, that's what the permit plan says, is 7.
When I was coming over here
But
today.
7's only one car.
Yeah.
The Brookhaven Borough Council meeting will now come to order. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone would please remain standing for just a moment as we offer a moment of silence for our recently deceased residents. Nathaniel Stinson, John Greenjack Jr., Elaine Russell, Michael Rosieri Jr., a former councilperson, Joseph Shusham, Adam Zizdak. Thank you.
I want to welcome everybody to the Brookhaven Borough Council meeting this evening. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our mayor, Mayor Hess.
Thank you, Mr. President. Probably everybody, I believe most of you read it in the newspapers and saw on television and probably saw it on Facebook a few weeks ago about Batman the Cat. Who didn't see Batman the Cat on television, the radio, or the news? Nobody?
I saw it.
Barely you got to watch the news once in a while. Anyway, well,
You said who didn't.
You said
Oh, who
who didn't
didn't?
say it.
Right. So
all
everybody.
right, who did?
Everybody
That's
did.
better, that's better. All right, I'll get it right yet. So anyway, two of our Brookhaven police officers, Starchik and Hutch, are here tonight also. And they worked the investigation and brought Batman back to his home. So he came back to his home, back to PetSmart unharmed, but they went through this investigation, got a couple tips, ran with those tips, and lo and behold, they found the culprits and brought them back to justice. Anyway, so we're here to honor these two gentlemen here. We're going to call them Starchik and Hutch for now, but we'll call them Officers Barth and Eastman when they come up here. Chief, I'll let you go from there.
Thank you. So again, Officer Barth and Officer Eastman, come forward, please.
Glad to smile.
So again, on November the 8th, 2019, Batman's 12-year-old cat was taken from Little PetSmart here in Brookhaven. Obviously, pet lover or not, certainly it's something, all crimes matter, so we're gonna investigate it fully. There was a lot of displeasure with, it wasn't solved in a day or so. These officers right here followed up every single tip and lead that came in. Some came to fruition, and some obviously did not. They were able to get the cat back. Batman was returned to PetSmart and the rightful owners. And with that, obviously, it was the theft of an animal at any point in time is always important to us. So we're going to make sure we do our best as they did, and we're happy to say that Batman is returned. So with that, I want to please to present Officer Robert Barth with a certificate of commendation for his actions, his follow-up, his obviously his leadership in this case. He was a primary officer, and same thing with Officer Ryan Eastman. He played an integral part with Officer Barth in solving this crime. So they did an excellent job. What I expect, what the mayor expects, what council expects, and they're here for everybody here in the borough.
Great job, guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I just want you, also, Lennon, would you come up here, please? Figured while you're here, this is one of our male models. And you'll notice this is gonna be the new uniform for the Brookhaven Police Department. Hopefully you like the new style. We're gonna change the patches around a little bit more also, but nice job. I'll show them on the. Looks
nice.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there anybody here from the Business Association?
I don't see him.
Not this evening, they're going to reorganize in January and start up again.
Okay. Mrs. Ford, School Board report.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody had a fabulous Thanksgiving holiday. It's good to see everyone again. I'll start off with our Veterans Day celebration. Coburn Elementary hosted a really amazing Veterans Day celebration. The Student Council and their advisor, Ms. Lindsay Kuhn, hosted a ceremony at the school. Veterans from the community were invited to attend the ceremony and a breakfast in their honor. One of the veterans commented, "I've been retired from the military for decades, and this was the first honor I've been to. I'll remember it forever." It was truly an amazing ceremony and a small token of our appreciation for all who have served. We also had Operation Gratitude that happened towards the end of October and through November 8th. Coburn Elementary Student Council hosted a candy drive titled Operation Gratitude and collected 400 pounds of candy for troops, veterans, and first responders that were sent out. The students also participated in a school-wide read about service and then made thank you cards to send along with the candy. We hosted a canned food drive. Again, Coburn Elementary Student Council hosted a canned food drive where they collected hundreds of non-perishable items donated by Coburn families. The food drive benefited a local city team outreach program. We celebrated American Education Week. Coburn Elementary School celebrated Education Week by inviting parents to visit classrooms to experience the excellence in education that happens daily at our school. Hundreds of parents in kindergarten through 5th grade were able to attend the visitation and celebrate with us. American education at its finest. And then, of course, we had our first annual turkey trot, which was a lot of fun. Coburn Elementary students and staff participated in the first annual turkey trot, hosted by our PE teacher, Mr. Clark. And thank you to the Brookhaven Police Department for stopping by to participate in the turkey trot and trot around the track with the staff and students. Everyone burned a few calories before the big meal. It was a lot of fun. And then this month, we are hosting a toy drive for Second Chance Toys. Coburn Elementary is a national green ribbon school, and so Second Chance Toys, what that is we collect gently used intact plastic toys. And then there will be a collection bin in the lobby. We collect the toys, we clean them, and then this this year they will benefit the Maternity Coalition. So the toys are all cleaned up, and they actually are beautiful. We collect hundreds of toys, and that'll be happening through December 13th. And then finally, if you really want to see everything that's happening, we have a lot of exciting events happening daily. Follow us on Twitter at Coburn ES. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Public discussion. Anybody have any public discussion? Mr. Seth?
Yes, I think everybody's aware of the fact that TD Bank is closing in Brookhaven. I was just wondering, they have that mural in there of the Wadley gas station and so forth. And certainly this is a community that we really respect our heritage and do what we can for it. I was just wondering if there's anybody who would have an idea that maybe there's something that we could do with that mural in there, maybe put it somewhere else in the borough, or maybe if we have new resident coming in, like we do at Bargain Warehouse and where the old bank was there, that perhaps maybe they could capture that. But I just think it would be nice if we could save that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we can send some, but how do we get it? It's a mural. How do you get it off the wall? Cut the wall out? I don't. Anybody know how that's done?
One piece.
Yeah.
Make a motion, Harry takes charge of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you, Harry. Any other public discussion? All right. Hearing that none, I will go to the police chief's report. Chief Curtin.
So good evening again. For the month of November 2019, we had 2 persons arrested. Neither were juveniles. One was for traffic offenses. I will say that is a low number, but that is also a good number because we're seeing our retail thefts and thefts in general going down. So less crime, less arrest, it's actually a good thing. So it doesn't always, high stats don't always boast the best for the borough. So I'm happy to say that there were 10 thefts total. Only 3 were retail thefts. Let's see, 29 false alarms, 431 security or business or property checks were performed in the month, 6 911 hang-up calls, 30 moving violation citations were issued, 32 warnings. We had 20 vehicle collisions, 26 motorist assists, and 8 vehicles were towed and impounded. As far as training for the month, we had approximately 100 hours that was conducted by our officers. We had active shooter training. Officer Wetton and Havoc that were here, they gave for the civilians of the borough, for everybody, a civilian active shooter class. It was about 1 hour long on the 26th. We had some firearms qualifications, some SWAT training in there, some alert training, which is active shooter for officers, was undertaken. As far as community relations, we were involved in the holiday parade, the Veterans Day service here at the building. As Ms. Ford said, the turkey trot over at Coburn Elementary. We got some thank you cards and some cookies were dropped off for officers from Hilltop residents for help keeping the community safe. A lot of good feedback. Have officers out on foot up there. There's a little bit of drug issues that we're not going to tolerate. So the officers are out there trying to be proactive as instructed. And lunch was brought to the officers from Forgotten Cats due to the Officer Barth and Eastman investigation regarding Batman. So that is my monthly report.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Fire Chief's report, Chief Montella.
Good evening, Brookhaven Fire Company's November 2019 fire report. We had 2 fire incidents in the borough, 23 non-fire, 27 mutual aid, 5 drills, for a total of 57 for the month. 582 calls so far this year. No loss on structure or contents for the month. No firefighter injuries. Our manpower was 57 calls, average 13 firefighters per call, 463 hours in service for the month, 6,050 hours for the year. We had 5 training sessions, average of 26 firefighters, 247 hours for the month logged in training, 2,247 for the year of training. Brookhaven Fire Company responded following incidents in the borough. We had an odor investigation at 4906 Edgemont, which is the hair cuttery. That was due to some hair chemicals being mixed together, just gave off a nasty smell. We had a building fire at the Trimble Run Condos, A building, a fuel spill at 4619 Edgemont Avenue, 2 auto accidents, one at 352 and Trimble Boulevard, one in 352 in front of the Wendy's. We assisted the Chester Township Fire Company on a building fire on the 1300 block of Powell Road. Assisted Upland Fire Company on a building fire on the Crozier campus. We involved a work trailer, and we had an outbuilding fire on the Pusey plantation in Upland. It was a shed on fire. Assisted Chester Fire Department covering the city while they operated on a building fire. Assisted Garden City Fire Company on a building fire on Kincaid Mill Road. And we assisted Concorville Fire Company covering their area while they operated at the tornado zone that happened in Glen Mills. We handled 2 calls for them while covering their area while they were tied up with the tornado problems. Assisted Parkside Fire Company on building fire on Park Valley Lane. Our training for the month included, we had a live drill at the Traditions at Ridley Creek. Building 3, we were allowed to go into the complex and actually train. The residents and the board let us do that. We did hose line advancements up the stair towers, getting up to the upper floors, which was good training for us. Ladder rescue from the balconies of the condos, and we did elevator rescue operations as well inside the building. We had a Pendelco school bus emergencies demonstration class for handling school bus accidents, and we had a live drill also at the Plus Mill Senior Center in Nether Providence Township, where we did some ladder work as well over there, and we had cold weather emergency training for all our members and our EMS crews. Also, our Candy Cane Day will be Saturday, December 14th, with Santa on the fire truck starting at 12 noon. Our EMS report for 2019 November, our monthly calls were 142 ambulance calls. So far this year, the ambulance answered 1,435 ambulance calls. The month we transported 101 people to the hospital, 1 DOA, 9 fire assists, and 31 refusals. We had 3 second emergencies for the month. With the ambulance, we had 65 second emergencies during the year. 2 ambulances are in service at the same time. We had 87 calls in the borough of Brookhaven, 13 in Media Borough, 2 in Parkside, 5 in Middletown Township, 1 in Chester Township, 5 in Nether Providence Township, 4 in Aston Township, 1 in Upland, 24 in the city of Chester. And that concludes the report.
Great. Thank you, Chief. We'll do the solicitor's report. Mr. Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just an update for council. The tax enabling resolution and ordinances have been made available for public inspection. They've also been properly advertised. Those are scheduled for adoption on December 16th. The only other thing I wanted to talk about a little tonight is the situation with Carmen's, the property across from McDonald's and Bateman Funeral Home. This is more just for the public's education. This is something I think most of council is already aware of. The council authorized legal action against the property, I think over the summer, and it's been sort of an ongoing process. Not a lot is discussed in public until we get to the stage that work is being performed, because there's things the property owner could do to sort of upset what we're trying to do. But now that some work's being done at the property, and just to sort of fill people in, the court and media, in response to a petition filed by the borough, has appointed what they call a conservator for the property, which is a third party that is tasked with essentially assessing the property and deciding what the best productive use of the property could be. So when you see people over there doing the work, it's not the owner, it's not the borough, it's this third party that's appointed by the court. They, I think, are complete with the clean out of the property at this point. Their next step is to assess the condition of the property. They have to decide whether or not they can salvage the structure or not. If they determine that they can, then they'll rehabilitate the property, make it look nice, essentially, fix the parking lot, remove the old outdated signage, that sort of thing. If they cannot salvage the property, then they'll demolish the property, and typically they restore the parcel to a grass or dirt lot. So that is to be determined depending on their assessment, but that's sort of where we are in the process, just so that if anybody sees people over there working, they're allowed to be there. It's not the borough's employees, it's not the borough doing it, it's this third-party conservator that's been appointed by the court. And I know code enforcement, I think I saw the fire chief over there today, so we're keeping an eye on what's going on, but it's not us actually doing the work. But just so everybody's aware, that's what's going on with the property. So hopefully sometime early next year, it'll start to look a little better one way or the other. And that's all I have tonight, thanks.
Great, thank you. Minute approval, I'm looking for a motion to approve the October 21st, 2019 council workshop.
So moved.
Second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried, and I will go to the mayor's report. Mayor Hess.
Mr. President, I have nothing new since the workshop meeting. No report this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll go to Ms. Sawicki.
Thank you. We do have bills to pay this month, and I'm going to make a motion so that the final, you'll see the one that says final, that's the one we're approving tonight, because she had additional bills after she did the initial report. So I'm making a motion that we do pay the final bills for December at this time.
There's a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Second, are there any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
And after you're finished with the other reports, I'll deal with the budget and the resolutions that we're going to be passing on the 16th.
All right, we'll come back to you. Thank you. Ms. Leslie.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to make an announcement that we will have both shredding and electronics events coming up in 2020. The trash hauler was able to get somebody to do the recycling for us.
Okay.
So those dates will be March 28th and October 24th. They're both Saturdays, and they will be 9 a.m. to lunchtime, 12 o'clock.
Is that going to be TVs too?
Yeah, all the
wanna
electronics,
make
anything
sure,
with a
'cause people
cord
are
that they
asking.
take, yeah. That'll be everything.
Okay, great, thank you.
Our holiday trash schedule will be collected on Thursday, December 26th, and Thursday, January 2nd. A veterans group had asked me to participate in their homeless veterans group, and it's called Welcome Home. And what they do is, this is a nonprofit organization that collects and raises money to purchase the basic necessities for our homeless veterans in need. They're looking for new socks, new hats, gloves, hygiene products, non-perishable food, puzzle books, chess sets, or little tic-tac-toe games. They will also accept men and women gently used clothing, tops, pants, coats, shoes. They will also accept twin-size bed linens, towels, and blankets. There is a bin here in the vestibule area, and that will be there till December 12th. And then after that, they will come and pick it up, and I will go with them on December 14th to distribute everything to the homeless shelters for the veterans.
Denise, was your,
yes.
I'm sorry,
Go
was
ahead.
your bin a box?
Yeah, it's just a box out there right now till I get something bigger to put in there.
Okay, because somebody actually brought some stuff in, and that's what I thought it was. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
making sure
There's
I put it in
signs
the
out
right
there
place.
on it, and we're looking for a bigger box to put out there.
Okay, good enough.
Thursday, December 5th at 6:30, we have a police meeting to discuss the police contract. And I also wanted to thank the fire department for the breakfast that we had last Wednesday. That was very nice to do. And also on Sunday, December 8th, the Delco Cruisers will be coming through for their, I think it's their 11th year that they've been coming through, 10th year, through the borough around 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Santa comes through with the toys that they collected. They go and they drop them off to Riddle Memorial Hospital and Crozier Hospital. They come down Edgemont Avenue with the old-fashioned cars and the motorcycles. And our police and fire department always help out with all the traffic control. So if you want to come out to the avenue and see them parade down, it's a really nice event. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Heller is sick. Somebody have a report for him? All right, he's off. tonight. Mr. Pappas.
Mr. President, the Planning Commission did not meet, so I will not have a report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mrs. Fuchs.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance committee will not have their official meeting this month. Instead, we're going to have a holiday get-together with the historical and the tech committees along with the ordinance committee, and that is going to be on December 19th. Business revitalization news, as everyone knows, the grand opening ribbon cutting for Chick-fil-A will be this Wednesday at 9 a.m. And if you haven't heard, the night before, many will line up overnight at Chick-fil-A for their special giveaways, and that begins at 6 p.m. and it ends at 6 a.m. on the 4th. So don't be alarmed if you see people out there with tents in the line because they're waiting to get their chicken. Tech committee news. Our new website will be turned over to us within 1 week. I am so excited. I think everybody's really going to love it. So within a week, we'll turn it over. I'll make sure I put it on social media so everybody knows to check out our new website. Community news, Providence Animal Center will be here on May 19th for the CHIP vaccination clinic. And also, I wanted to just let everyone know, I saw it on social media, the Aston Police Department posted that apparently a bear was spotted in Aston today, so just be on the lookout if you see a bear, don't approach it and call 911. So it was spotted in Aston, I'm not sure where. I'm thinking it was by Newman somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure.
Convent Road.
Convent Road? Yeah. So, that's all of my report. Thank you.
I heard he was lining up at the Chick-fil-A.
You might be.
Okay, thank you. Mr. LaPere is working tonight, but he did give me a report. So the zoning hearing board will meet in session on 12/10 at 7 p.m. to review the new self-storage facility that is being proposed on East Brookhaven Road. He's also asking council, and he talked about this at the workshop, he's looking for a nomination for William F., and I guess it's Hayes, H-A-S-S-E, is how you spell the name, as an alternate position to the zoning board. And he did mention that at the workshop, so what's council's pleasure?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Second, are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll let him know that he's now an alternate. The rec board, under the rec board, he has that the senior luncheon is Sunday, 12/18 at 1 p.m. Doors open at 12:30 p.m. I'm sorry?
12:08.
What did I say? 18? I'm sorry, 12/8. Yep, thank you. I appreciate that. The luncheon is 12/8 at 1 p.m. The doors open at 12:30 and should probably already have your tickets for that. Can they still get tickets, do you know?
Yes, you can. They were given out today.
Okay. Tree lighting on the same day, 12/8, Pictures with Santa. And the Pictures with Santa, it's at 6 p.m. and refreshments will be served, as well as horse and carriage rides. And the people running the rides will ask for donations. And also there is a gingerbread house event, and that's for kids, I imagine. It's age 6 and over, it's $15. 6 and under is $5, and that's also on 12/8. And that door opens at 6:30 p.m. And that would be the end of his report. We'll go to the engineer's report. Mrs. Mulvena.
I believe you talked about this briefly at the workshop, but the PA Small Water and Sewer Grant is due, the application is due December 13th. In your packet, I tried to make it a little clearer what the project is involving. In the rear yards of homes on Charles, 200 block and 100 block of Charles and Upland Road, there's a sewer that runs down from Victor all the way to Mount Vernon. So there is a section of that has been chronic problems with root infiltration. We also have a shed that was built over one of the manholes, so there's been no access to that manhole. So the plan for a number of years was to replace this line. However, it's a very expensive proposition and a difficult one because access is going to be tough. So we're proposing that your application be for pipe bursting. And pipe bursting, we did it 22 years ago, I think now, on Mount Vernon. This line is 16 feet deep. The line on Mount Vernon was about 20 feet deep. And what they do is they open up a pit, they put a head through, and they pull the pipe all the way through in one piece, underground. And as they go through, they break, it's pipe bursting because they break the pipe that's there, and they pull the new one in its place. So it's fascinating to watch. If any of you, if you get the grant and you get to do the work, it'd be great to go see it because it really is fascinating to see. Anyway, that would be the proposal for the application. And then what they have to do, because each of the houses are connected to this, they actually have to dig at each location and install a new lateral connection to the new main, because the old lateral connection will be gone because the main that was in there, the main pipe is now gone. So this project will include doing both of those things. And it will, there will be bypass pumping because each house will still want to be able to use their facilities. It has to be set up that each house can temporarily use the facilities while this work is being done, because the laterals have to be cut in after the main gets put in. So if you flush, it hits that wall and it's going to back up. So they have to make provisions for temporary pumping. So all of that is included in the estimate. The project size, maximum project size is $500,000. We attached the estimate that we did, and it's $499,000. The borough is responsible for a 15% match. So it's 85% of the money is provided by the state. And so it's a great deal. Probably this time next year is when the contracts would be issued for the successful communities. So you would be doing the work sometime in 2021, it looks like. So if you are interested, if that's the project that you would like to go for, we have to pass a resolution. If you have a different project that you would like to apply, we still can do the resolution. We have to do it tonight because the application's due on the 13th, and we won't have another meeting before we have to get the application written.
Yeah, Aaron did a pretty good job of laying it out at the workshop.
Good, okay.
Have you thought about it? What's your pleasure? It's a job that we've been putting off for some time, and you really shouldn't.
That's Charles.
It's only a matter of time before something happens there, so.
Now, if you do look at the budget on the second page from the end of the budget, it's in the sewer system. So we do have it in there for
The match?
Pennsylvania Small Water and Sewer Grant. We have it in as $390, but I could just make the adjustment for that. And the matching is 15%, so we'll just have to adjust to what the numbers are. Because we put an estimate in, which was pretty close, but
When do we need that? What, not 2020, we need a 2021, right?
no.
2020?
It's going to be done in
Well, you
2020.
could, no, it can be done, it probably would be done in 2021. I mean, you could do it in the end of 2020. It depends on what the weather's like the end of next year at this time. As long as it's warm enough and the ground doesn't freeze, then they'll be able to do the work.
Which means it could be
Or you can
October,
roll the
November.
dice.
Really?
I mean, you can include it next year, you put it in, you take it out. I mean, you're putting in the revenue from the grant, the only difference would be the 15%.
Right.
That would be the portion that may or may not get used next year.
Exactly.
So that affects the sewer budget.
Well, the money was already in it, except for an adjustment, so. And if you don't use it next year, you just correct the 2000.
And it is a reimbursement grant, so if you did do some
is.
of the work, you could apply for that money to be given back to you in 2020, and then do another application for payment in 2021.
The pipe reimbursement is the way to go. I mean, I'm sold on it. If you don't do it that way, then you gotta go in, you gotta dig up the ground. As you're going through people's backyards, there's pools, there's sheds, and that just creates a whole new set of problems and more money.
And we did it on Mount Vernon really because of the safety issues. When it was that deep and then the water main broke and then we had sliding sands at the bottom of the trench and it became very unsafe. This way, we're not putting any people in jeopardy. So if you are inclined, then you would you would make a motion to pass resolution number, whatever number is the next number.
2019-08. I'm going to make the motion that we pass the resolution because this is Charles Avenue. This was on the budget 4 or 5 years ago when Mr. Catania was here, and they never were able to get a grant. But now, if we get this grant, we'll have it done. Because that whole area, which I know Vaughn and Eileen have been down there, and it's really, if it goes, we don't want to have it become what Mount Vernon was. Because it's really not desirable. And if we can get 85% from Harrisburg, while we still can, that's what I'm concerned about. Because every year that goes by, I'm not really sure these grants are going to keep going. Because there's so many people competing from all over PA. And this has been on the list for quite a few years. So now it finally made it to the top of the list.
I'll get there. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second? Is there any questions? Because I don't want any lingering questions there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
How many houses was it?
19
19 total.
for the section that we're doing. So the lateral issue, the trap issue, does council want to address that tonight so that we know going forward? Are we going to continue just doing the work from curb to curb? Or is the policy going to change and we're going to do traps?
I don't think we should do traps. It's way too expensive. And as she said at the last meeting, if a resident does it, they can get it much cheaper from a plumber. We have to get bids, and they charge us much more than homeowners will get. It's like 2 or 3 times what we have to pay. They pay less than we would have to pay. And we've always done curb to curb. And these jobs are getting more expensive every year.
Yeah, that's my concern is that that it's going to outrun you.
It is.
If it hasn't already, but it will.
Oh, it will. So,
I would say, you know how I feel. I'm saying curb to curb, but
It's my understanding too that sometimes the plumbers that are sliding the snake through there, they have a tendency to break them because they're
true.
manhandling them.
If you've
Kind of
ever
just
watched
like
it,
it's
it's
not
like
fault
a
anyway.
plunger. It's, they're applying the pressure, they break through the traps. We've had times where we've had to dig and we find plumber's snakes stuck in our line, and that's what caused the backup because they lost their snake in our line, and then we end up paying to repair it.
well,
Yeah, I don't want to be responsible for them, especially if somebody else has been there. A plumber, a sewer, cleaning service.
so do you want a motion, Vaughn, or?
yeah, sure.
So I'll make a motion that we
not?
really, it's curb to curb, and that these traps are really the responsibility of the homeowner.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You can always change your policy, but you probably ought to have one, so motion's carried. Thank you.
So just to let you know, the letter to PennDOT regarding the timing at Coburn and Cambridge will go out tomorrow. They did have the inspection. Unfortunately, there is another engineer with the same first name, and we both grew up here in Brookhaven. It's weird. Same age, everything, went to the same schools. And he picked the wrong Eileen to send the email to notifying of the inspection. So I was not notified. She, of course, did not show up because it's not her town. So we have to send a letter because we didn't attend the inspection, asking for the timing changes. So the mayor will sign that letter tomorrow, and it can be PDF'd. It does not have to go out in the U.S. mail. It can be emailed to the district executive.
Okay, my question is, have we satisfied the fire company's request? Is that in the letter?
That is in the letter.
Because I didn't read it yet. Okay.
So we may not, we aren't in control of this, just so you know. It's whatever PennDOT decides. So, and technologically, if it can even happen, I don't know. I don't know enough about the countdown, but if the cycle, when the fire company hits it, to have it go to green for them and red for everyone else, if there is a timing requirement in the electronics that says it must take this much time, then there's not going to be anything that can be done to reduce that time. But if it can, then that's what we're asking PennDOT to do, is to optimize the time for them.
Can I ask a question? Sure. Last week I was on Coburn coming here, and it looked to me like the camera that's on top of the, it looked like it was going in the other direction. Like it wasn't, because the winds before that were like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And when I looked at the cameras that are at that intersection, they all looked to be like in a different direction. And when I was trying to proceed, I was totally eliminated. I was there, and it never went green for me.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, is it because it looked to me like they were going to the right. And I checked, when I looked for all four of them, they all looked that way, because we had the 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it looks like this. And could wind actually move that? I don't know. I'm just asking the question because I was trying to figure out why the light didn't change, so me and the people behind me couldn't get across. It just didn't even do it. It just...
Okay, well, we have a bond for them, so we'll ask them to go back out and check it. They'll go out right away and check it, so I'll have them do that tomorrow. And then they run a test. They put the vehicles there, they watch to see what the camera picks up, whether it's picking up the range that it should pick, that it should capture. So if it's not, it's their responsibility to make it right. And the timing, as far as the timing, is only 7 seconds maximum. So 7 seconds, whereas on 352, I don't remember which direction's which, but one of them, I believe it's the northbound, is 30-second cycle time, and the southbound is 20-second cycle time, whereas east-west is only 7 seconds. So there definitely is a distinction between the directions, and maybe the 7 can be increased to, I don't know, 12, 14, it's whatever
I'm surprised
PennDOT.
it was just 7 seconds. It seems like as soon as you go through the intersection,
Already
it
turning
turns.
red.
So that is in the letter, and that's what we're asking. And then the other thing, the only thing left is the stormwater tip. Remember to pick up waste from your pet and dispose of it properly. The best method of disposal is to flush the waste. Leaving pet waste on the ground increases public health risks by allowing harmful bacteria and nutrients to wash into the storm drains and then eventually into local water bodies. That's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, the November Public Works report. There was one sewer call for the month. It was a commercial building on the 4200 block of Edgemont Avenue, and the plumbing inspector was notified. The block was in the building and not in the sewer main. Checked on a sinkhole at 4104 North Gray, and the sinkholes seem to be all through the yard, but appears to be a homeowner issue. Measured the depth of 4 storm sewer inlets on Edgemont Avenue, and that information has been sent to NDI Engineering. Checked a dead tree on Whiteley Road. The tree is not on borough property, and it's the homeowner on Sculla Road, which I believe she's now contesting. There was a
letter to protect us,
yeah, I know, but
saying it was her tree.
okay. Thank you. There was a down tree in Memorial Park that was removed. Winterized the buildings at Memorial Park, Sampson Park, and Eaton Park. And the building at Duncan Field still is the last one to be done, and that'll be done this week. All the fire extinguishers were expected in the park buildings. Removed the picnic benches from the parks for the winter, and the benches will be repaired and repainted over the winter. Removed all the trash cans from Memorial Park. The final grass cutting was done at the Borough Hall and Memorial Island for the Veterans Day event. Helped Harry finish working on the shed for the police department. They worked with the holiday parade, moving 2 sets of bleachers from Memorial Park, also filled any potholes along the way. On the parade route, they picked up the leaves
and put the wooden stairs out for the reviewing stand, and provided traffic cones and traffic barricades for the event. Working at the storage treatment plant, that's ongoing. There's some floodlights up there that aren't operational, and we're trying to get them going. Removed debris from the storm drains throughout the borough. All highway vehicles have been prepared for the winter. The small dump trucks and the salt spreaders and spinners have been installed. The snow plows were moved from the storage to service, and they're ready to be in place for the winter months. The bigger dump trucks were serviced to be prepared for leaf collection, and the leaf boxes were installed, and the leaf machine was moved up to storage and ready for the season. The 2019 leaf collection started back on November the 18th and still goes on today. I believe the last day for that is the 20th of December, so if you please have your leaves out at the curb. Answered 21 request tickets from the Pennsylvania One Call system, ordered 4 new Watch Children signs, installed a new sign at West Brookhaven Road in Chandler, and delivered a few recycling plans that were requested through the month. Denise talked about the trash pickup. That'll be December 26th, as she said, and January 2nd, the day after the holidays. Christmas tree pickup will start on January the 2nd and go through January 31st. So make sure that you have your tree to the curb, make sure it's not tied up or anything like that, and it's stripped completely and it's not wrapped. The street lights that were approved for Coburn Boulevard, we checked on that. I told you I would, and they should go up this week, so I'm hoping that'll get done. And we asked NDI to go through a list of all the outstanding storm and sanitary sewer problems so that we could pass it on to the new administration. The parade was a big success. I think this is the first year that we did a holiday parade that I actually didn't get a complaint. Usually somebody tells us we did something wrong, and I don't know if you've heard anything, but I haven't heard anything. So it went really well.
Other than you dancing in the streets, that's the only complaint I heard.
Yeah. But on January the 13th, I asked Mary to put us on the agenda so that we will come in and give the awards and the accolades and wrap that up for you. Okay. As much as I would have preferred a different result from the 2019 election cycle, I'm aware that we were under a very different set of circumstances than your normal election. For the first time since the Civil War, the county was actually in danger of switching political parties. And as a kid, I grew up here in Brookhaven, and I remember the days of the War Board. And for anybody that doesn't, and my grandparents were very involved in the Republican Party, so I remember that pretty well. And for anybody that doesn't know what that was a tightly knit group of Republicans who ran the county with an iron fist. And you didn't do anything, man. You didn't get a job. And before they changed the federal law, you didn't get into Sunoco or Boeing or anywhere. You couldn't even get your grandmother into a nursing home without somebody saying that it was okay to do it. So I would have never dreamed that we would have seen what we've seen over the last 2 election cycles, that where we've done a profound change in the direction of the county. Quite frankly, I don't know if it's a good thing. That remains to be seen yet. They've got a lot to prove. But there was an all-out effort by somebody that knew what they were doing to get a vote out, and I think that it was an unprecedented number of people that came out for the local election. And I think it was a fight for that county council and that district attorney seat that brought a lot of the people out. One of the things that I found out as I was campaigning is that there was a very uncomfortable level of discontent of what was happening on the national level. And for the folks who would let me explain, they found out that I was just as unhappy with some of the things that have been taking place. Not everybody was. Some people just shut the door in your face. People that hadn't been that hostile to me in the past. But personally, I don't care about Democrats and Republicans. I just don't. What I care about is good government. And I think that I care more about substance and governing responsibly than I do about party registrations. And I share many of the concerns that I heard from our constituents while I was out there. And then there was that deceitful piece that came out, and I don't know really how much it worked. I don't think it was a good thing. The piece of literature that showed up right before the election. And I know it's politics, we've seen it a million times, but there's only one reason you would put something like that out just 2 days before an election, that nobody can answer it. So we'll let that go, and we'll just let the shame fall where it may. I'm reminded of that saying about you live by the sword. So there's no doubt that November of 2021 will look a lot different than November of 2019. And I've been around enough elections to be pretty confident in what I'm telling you. What I've asked myself is what I've learned on this adventure. And I recall sitting in this seat 2 years ago saying, boy, I don't know why the good Lord brought me back here after I walked away for 4 years. There must have been a reason. And I think tonight it's a little clearer to me, and that's that I was able to develop a few character traits that I had trouble with over the years, such as patience and perseverance, tolerance. Patience, government, it takes forever to get anything done and get it done correctly. And coming out of the private sector, was really tough for me to take. Here you can always expect the unexpected. We live in a day of instant gratification where everybody thinks that things should be done yesterday. So not only do you have to be patient through a process, you have to be patient with all the impatient people around you that thinks that the job should have already been done. And there's many examples I can point to, but one that the most recent that I can think of was the turning arrows at Cambridge and Coburn and Edgemont Avenue. Look what it took to get that done. PennDOT had tied that thing up for 4 months. And then we finally got a contractor out there and found out that there were problems with the box. And then they came back and we had to throw more money at it. It took us forever to get the job done. In the meantime, the mayor and the residents, some of the residents and some of the council people were putting pressure on the engineer, and the ball wasn't even in our court. So what you have to do is stay focused as where the ball is, and somebody has to be a focal point. And what I've tried to do from this job is be that focal point. No matter what else was going on, I just kept my eye on the ball because we needed the result. Perseverance, and that's basically what I'm saying, is always to keep the eye on the ball, keep your eye on the goalpost, no matter what the circumstances are. And I've learned to be tolerant from people that just have their own political and personal agendas, and it constantly gets in the way of an over-positive outcome for 8,000 people plus people. What I want to do is provide a well-run organization and a solid constituent service. There is no other reason to be here. Things happen in government that would never happen in the private sector. It really disturbs me, some of the things that I see they go on. But I've learned to master the art of maintaining some self-restraint, and believe me, and self-control. And that has been real helpful to me over particularly the last 2 years. But don't count me out. You know, I grew up here, man. This is my hometown, so make no mistake, I'm the hometown guy. And I've served in one capacity or the other ever since the 1970s when I joined the fire service. And I'm not going anywhere unless the good Lord calls me in another direction. And I want to wish Donna and Sherry, who's not here, and Hector the very best going forward, and everybody will be here for at least the next 2 years. I wish you nothing short of a successful journey because I live here too. What you're going to find out is campaigning is a whole lot different than governing. They're worlds apart. Jim's not here tonight, but I want to thank him because he's been a remarkable work partner. Mm-hmm. And no matter what I give Jim, he gets it done. And sitting in this chair, that's important. But if he says he's going to take care of something, I didn't worry about it again. And that's huge. I never felt one time did he ever have a political or a personal agenda. And that's refreshing. If he had one, I'll just say this, I didn't see it. I want to thank George Pappas because I think as he's gotten more and more into what we really do here and he's been exposed, he appears to have a better grasp on the core, and he's supported me particularly over the last 6 months. And I really appreciate you stepping up. Thank you. Janice, it's been tough, and I know that you've stepped up in the office. We came in in not the best situation. We've had to fix a lot of things along the way, and I know that you didn't always get the support, but you were always there. And I saw it because I was here every day that you were. Thank you for doing that. That's been important to me. I want to thank the council for allowing me to serve as the council president, because to me, that's been a privilege. I'm grateful to the residents and the taxpayers who've elected me, given me the opportunity to serve. I've always believed that serving was a blessing, and so that's the only reason that you need to be here. 1 Peter 4:10, it states that as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as a good steward of God's varied grace. I'm sort of that guy that's the jack of all trades and the master of none. But the one thing I know how to do is give my time, use my common sense, and just keep my eye on the ball. And I think I've done that. Perhaps we can partner again, because like I said, I don't really think I'm going anywhere. I pray every day for the country. I really believe and I'm thankful for about where we live. I pray for our local officials on every level, but particularly in Brookhaven, the employees, the elected and appointed officials, our police and fire departments. I pray every day that you guys stay safe out there while you're trying to keep us safe. Our volunteers, our businesses, our constituents, that's all what makes a good government. As the mayor would say, a community with unity. I can honestly look you guys in the eye tonight and tell you I have no agenda. This is my hometown. That's the only reason I do what I do here. Giving back to the community that gave me so much that I grew up was important to me. And I'm able to do it. So for all that opportunity, I'm thankful. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right, enough of that. Mr. Leslie.
Just a couple things here. Wawa has demo permits. They're well aware if there's any burning or welding going on over there during demolition that they must post a fire watch. Chick-fil-A is finished with the Board of Health, the mechanical, myself, Catania's office. I believe Bill Gavin will be issuing the C of O tomorrow. The European waxing and bleaching facility is still underway over there. They just finished pouring concrete last week. They're putting the walls up. And it's wintertime now. Everybody's smelling gas. So if you do smell gas, please dial 911, have the fire come to go check it out. You're not bothering us. So we just had a big gas leak the other day at Wendy's early in the morning. If you smell gas, please call 911. Fire prevention, we forgot to give that report. It was about 40 scouts they saw and about 800 kids, not counting the Family Day people. So they really touched a lot of people this year, getting bigger and bigger every year, that fire prevention week. So that's the end of my report, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Hampton.
They're slowing down. We had 94 calls last month. I probably somewhere maybe 75 this month. A lot of things that goes on that's, people don't know what's going on.
Use a microphone, Harold.
Can you
Harold,
use your microphone so that Mary can pick it up?
Go on.
What I said, I'll probably only have about 75 calls this month. I've only got 6 so far today, and this is the first day, so I said there's a lot of things go on, a lot of questions that I answer and things that I'm not outside on. And right now in this weather, I don't want to be out, believe me. But the other thing, I also want to thank the power company for that breakfast. And I was hoping they did it weekly. We'll see what they do. But, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, Chief here did bacon, sausage, all of that.
You picked a day I was out of town.
Did very well. Thank you.
Okay, oh, thank you. You're done. Wow. Chief, you have anything under public safety?
Just thanks for getting the Opticon traffic redemption at Buck Mill and Edgemont fixed.
Okay.
Actually, the guy went up and it was broke in all four directions up there instead of the one that we usually head that way.
Okay.
So they did get that fixed and thank you.
Yeah, very good. Mr. Grant, you have anything, sir?
No report.
Okay, thank you. Public discussion. Anybody have anything for us? Does anybody have anything from the council?
Do you want to?
Bill list, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, we have to come back. I did this at the workshop, too. I apologize. We're going to do that. We're going to come back to Janice.
No problem. I just wanted to let the public know about what we'll be dealing with on December 16th. We do have a special meeting every year at the end of the year to really pass the budget and the ordinances and resolutions that we need. And one of the resolutions will be for the depository for borough funds, which is Bryn Mawr Trust. We'll have a resolution about automatic pay. What we do is if there's bills like the water bill, PICO, trash hauler, those we pay as soon as we get them in so that we can not be hit with interest and penalties for being late. Well, there's a resolution in your packet for salaries of the employees for next year and the trash rebate. And I did want to explain trash rebate because even though there's not that many people that do qualify for it, there was some confusion this year, and I wanted to make sure people understood. We do pass a resolution every year, and you have to be 65 or older or totally disabled. The first one is if it's a partial 50% rebate, you have to have a household income not exceeding $25,000. So if you have 2 or 3 people, it's whatever their household income is, cannot exceed that. Or if you would get the 100% rebate, your income has to be $12,500 or less for the household. And you're either 65 or older or totally disabled. And then what you have is you have till June 30th. And the forms will be at the office for you to fill out. And you do have to send in your Social Security, a copy of your Social Security, your paid tax bill, retirement, pensions, interest, because all those things are included. The resolution, we are going to have a resolution for the general fund because the legislature in the summer changed the format. If you're not going to have a tax increase, you have to pass it by a resolution. So it's still 4.85 mils, and we have the resolution in the packet for council. Sewer is Zone 1, which is everybody on this side of the avenue, $394 for next year. Zone 2, which is next to Charity, and Zone 3, which is the third precinct, same, $394. Zone 4 is people who live in 4th precinct, people who have sewer collection from the Brookhaven plant, $474.69. And Zone 5 is $392, and that's Hilltop. And the trash next year will be $250 per unit. That is a small increase because that's exactly what the bids that we went out for. I'm going to go through the budget just to do some highlights because we went through it. Now, for those who don't know, copies of the budget are available at the office from today. They were out there today through the 13th of December. And there's copies of the ordinances too. So if you want them, they're free to residents. And we're looking at 4.85 mils, as I said. So the revenue for all kinds of taxes, including real estate transfer, earned income, mercantile, and business privilege, $4,197,042. That's like the major one we have, because our revenue for the year is $5,969,755. And we have normal borough office, tax collection, building, legal bills, all the things you would think we have. The police department, they like to be paid, so we have to comply, Chief. That was a small joke. There is a police car in the budget for next year. Since we didn't get one this year, there is one for next year. There is money, we're going to continue putting money into our escrow account for the new fire truck, which we expect to, I believe it's 22, Chief? Yeah, 2022, we'll be getting the new truck, which will replace one of the trucks that's really starting to go. And then we have, so basically that's the same. You still have the revenue and the income, $5,989,755. Going on to trash, trash is $834,515. And that includes what we pay to the trash fee and the Delcora solid waste fee. And we do have, that also includes for your trash, also the leaf collection. So when they come around with the chipper and when they come around with the leaf collection in the fall, that's all included in what we are spending. Also, we have sewer system and the sewer plant, and they're all in depth as to what we spend for each. And on the very last page, it does show what every resident who receives sewer service from us would pay. Now, the only people that aren't on this are people from Dutton Mills who go to Southwest. Southwest is not collected by us. But what happens when you get your sewer, your bill for trash and sewer, you would pay your bill for general fund, trash, and sewer to the borough. The borough collects the money, and what we collect next year will go to Delcora the following year. What we have collected this year will be going in February to Delcora, because they tell us ahead of time what the price is. We collect, we keep it in our escrow account, and we'll be writing the check in February, which is how they've always done it. It's easier for them to collect because they know the money is there. And as I said, the last page tells you where you live and how the prices were arrived at. So I guess if council has any questions, I can try to make arrangements this week. I have a meeting Thursday with the police committee, but if anybody else, just, let me know and I'll make arrangements to meet with anybody who has any other questions. So, but that's all I have. But we will make those motions on the 16th. And the meeting's 7 o'clock on the 16th. It's 2 weeks from today.
It's also a workshop. How did we advertise that?
Yeah, we did. It's for
It's
all.
separate, so we do one and then close that out and do the other? Okay,
Well, it's
Question
one
also.
meeting.
sure.
You mentioned that, is the council meeting the 13th or the 6th of January? Because you said I'll be here on
The reorganization is the 6th. The council meeting will be 1 week later.
Will be the
on
13th, okay.
Okay, anybody else have anything for Janice? In that case, I guess I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you. That's all. Not just personally from me, just from the community itself. I never realized how big your position is, the amount of time that you spend in it. Now, every time I pass the borough, because I lived back in that area, I always saw your car parked alongside there. So it's a lot of seat to fill there. So thank you for your experience. That's all.
Thank you. Still looking for a motion?
I need a motion.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting's adjourned.